So I know the AI advocates don't want to hear this, and they really get their hackles up when you say this, but I just don't see people warming up to AI and wholesale AI. And they will say things like, well, you better get on board and you better get with the program because it's happening and it's going to leave you in the dust. Okay, if you say so, man, but are you trying to convince me or are you trying to convince yourself? Because the proof is in the pudding. I just don't see, by and large, people wholesale rushing out to embrace AI music, and I don't really see it ever happening. And one of the things people will say is, well, they said the same thing about synthesizers, and they said the same thing about electronic drums. Well, there's a few things to consider there. That's a false equivalence in my mind, because first of all, there's questions of degree, how much. There's questions of transparency, whether you're being forthcoming about it. And there's questions of artistic intent. So when I say artistic intent, what I'm saying is somebody like Gary Newman, for example, he might take the sound of a cold synthesizer and use it to say something about human alienation. Or you had people who were taking those sounds of electronic drums, or they were taking the sounds of synthesizers, and they were using that sound to say new things, or they were actually harnessing that sound itself. That's different than from AI mimicking, doing this mimicry, what they call the uncanny valley, where it's trying to imitate human emotion or a person playing a guitar. And people don't want to believe this. They don't want to accept it. They just say, oh, well, it's just about the song itself. That's the only thing that matters. Yeah, in certain contexts, if it's a banger in a club where people just want to get drunk and dance, or if it's a novelty song where people just want to like laugh, like the dogs barking jingle bells, yeah, maybe it's not as important. But when you're talking about certain genres like rock or country, the externals matter. People care. They think about how much did somebody think about this? What was the emotion someone had when they were playing this guitar? It isn't just about the sound itself. And it is off-putting to people because we are hardwired. So this isn't about my personal resistance to technology. This is about the way people are hardwired to respond to things. And there are, of course, legitimate uses for AI. So don't get me wrong. I do believe there are legitimate uses. Like I said, you're making an artistic meta-commentary about AI or about technology. Or maybe you're making demos or certain stages of the production process. I think they use AI in mastering. Maybe you've injured your voice and you need to use AI to replicate your voice. I can see legitimate uses for AI. But in general, as far as everybody coming around and you write you write lyrics and then AI does all the music and everyone's just going to embrace that as the greatest thing ever. And maybe there'll be some exceptions, but in general, I just don't really see it happening.